Well, we have questions for the Senator tonight. Some of the questions were submitted by members of the audience, and some of the questions were submitted on the AFF website. So we've got questions from around the country. We're going to go through a few as well. But before we go to the questions, I wanted to make sure I can introduce our former congressman and still a good friend of everyone in Northwest Iowa. With us tonight to at least say hello is Congressman Tom Latham, who came in. The first question, I think this is a really timely one, comes from Doug Furlick in Lawton, Iowa. He's asking for your thoughts on the General Motors bankruptcy filing today.
Well, first of all, I thought President Bush made a huge mistake when he used power plants to bail out the auto. I said, and I tried to promote last year, that I thought that the auto companies should have gone through Chapter 11 reorganization. Didn't mean they were going away. They could have reorganized, come out as stronger companies. And at the time, the government could have done some of the things we're talking about today, guarantee the warranties so people would feel comfortable buying a car, and then provide what's called debtor in possession financing. That's the financing when you go through Chapter 11. They could have done that back then. It would cost the American people a lot less money. Matter of fact, probably wouldn't cost us anything. We wouldn't be in the auto business owning stock today. They would already be, I believe, much more on their way to recovery than they are under the president's plan. I don't think we should be owning auto companies the way the president is proposing.
The next question comes from East Peoria, Illinois. Marshall Heimfold asks, what are you doing to reach the younger voters?
That's a great question, because it's a great challenge for our party. President Obama did a great job of inspiring younger people. First of all, we need some fresh voices. We need some fresh faces to the party. We also have to use technology. Our party was behind the learning curve on technology, and we have to. I mean, you have to be on Facebook. You have to be on MySpace. You've got, all of us in office have to obviously use Twitter. I've actually Twittered several times today while I have been in Iowa, and we have to do a better job of not only using the technology that they use, but then we have to communicate in a way that they can hear. So, for instance, on the budget, they have to understand what President Obama's budget means. So they supported him, but they have to understand what the policy means to their pocketbooks and to their future. And that's a huge issue, I believe, that we can take back. And the same thing on education. Young people really strongly believe in education. And they understand, when you mention to them that we should be able to fire bad teachers, okay, who in this room didn't at least have one bad teacher along the way? And or your child had one bad teacher along the way. Got a couple young people over here, real big smiles on them. They understand, okay? That I want to pay good teachers more, but I want to be able to get rid of bad teachers and really care about kids in their educational system. And if we talk issues, not only to young people, but also I believe the same kind of things with minorities. We can't afford to be a party that doesn't attract minorities to our party. Not only to vote with us, but also to run for office and to be leaders. We have to have a different face on our party going future. Otherwise, we're going to be a minority party. We'll stay that way.
Next question from Ben Goins here in Sioux City. If Israel, we're going to turn to foreign policy for a minute, if Israel is forced to take out Iran's nuclear program, what should U.S. policy toward Iran be, and should regime change become official policy?
Well, now for the easy questions.
I'll give you two softballs to start.
Yeah, this is an unbelievably difficult question, because it isn't the same as when Iraq had started developing their nuclear program back in the 80s, when Israel took out their nuclear program back then. Iran has learned from that, and so they're spreading it around the country. They're varying a lot, so it's not as easy for Israel to be able to take out their nuclear capabilities. The world absolutely cannot afford for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Cannot afford it. It is, I mean, no option should be taken off the table. It is the bottom line. The president has said that. I agree with the statements that he has made on that. But countries like Iran, they really only understand strength. And it's kind of like, remember Libya, okay? And when Ronald Reagan was president, and I'm a veterinarian, so I can use this analogy. Ronald Reagan neutered Muammar Gaddafi. The veterinarian comes out of me. They understand strength, and you cannot pacify people like Ahmadinejad. You cannot. And they understand strength, and so we have to be strong. We have to get the world community behind us, but it can't just be an idle talk. You have to be prepared to act if necessary to keep them from having nuclear weapons.
Next question is from Hammond, Indiana. El Pedido Desado asks, can you define conservatism and how you would promote it?
Yeah, conservatism, I think there's one word that really goes to the heart of conservatism, and it's freedom. Whether it's free enterprise system, whether it's freedom from government intervention, that means less regulation, that means fewer laws that encourage litigation, that means lower taxes, because that's, once again, freedom from paying oppression, and you can be taxed, oppressed by taxes. A lot of things, but freedom really is the core principles of what I believe the conservative message should be. I don't believe in big government conservatism. I'm not one of those people. I believe that people do make better decisions with their own money than the government does. That businesses know how to invest their money better than government does. That government doesn't create jobs, it takes jobs away from the private sector. That government should only do what government is required to do. And whenever the private sector can do it, the private sector should do it. We actually, this is what I talk about personal responsibility. Our welfare system was put into place for very good reasons, as far as compassionate reasons. It actually did the reverse effect of what it was intended to do, but it was put in for the right, compassionate reasons. But we have a responsibility as individual citizens for those who are maybe down and out, to give them a hand up so the government doesn't have to give them a hand out. And that's kind of the conservatism, I believe, is that we all have personal responsibilities to care about our communities, so the government doesn't have to, so we can keep taxes low, so we can attract businesses and make American business more competitive in the world. But that all comes, freedom, our founders believe freedom came with responsibility. And that's really the conservative thought that I believe that our party should stand on.